you helped me pick out a plant. I did some aqua breeding before that, and I bred two 97%, and I got 100% pure out of one of the
Oh,
5 breeds.
oh God.
How hard is that? Like what
Well,
rarity are we talking about?
well, I don't have the maths figured out, but you basically just earned yourself a vacation from that.
Yeah, I mean that's like an
That's
ETH at least, right?
It's like an Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, at least
Yeah.
75%, I would think, for it right now in this market. So I don't know exactly how difficult that is to happen. I just try to do the best with high percentage gambling, right? Like I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get budget axies that have decent percentages, smash them together, so on and so forth. And when those pop out, it is a gift from the Axie gods, one that we must cherish.
Yeah, no, totally. So that was like that's my first big breeding win, lottery, whatever. Yeah, the plant guys turned out okay. Those were sort of like
Okay,
efficiency breeds, not like 97% type breeds. So pretty
sure.
happy with it. I've got some aggressive tanks now. I haven't really played much since I got my little hot butt tank, and I'm excited
Mm.
to mess around with that today. So whatever build we settle on, I definitely want to play around that. How I'm curious though. I want to pick your brain a little bit. How's YouTube going, dude? It seems like you're really slaying it over there. The sub count, the content. I saw your video submission. Pretty dope stuff over there. I saw the NFT of the dance that was in your video sold for like 1.7 or 2 ETH or something. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. I actually don't think that was the NFT for the video. That was just him doing a different dance on
Oh,
that day and the
oh,
same
really?
outfit.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
which
thought it
is
was a clip from the video. Okay, I'm sorry, my bad.
no, which is interesting though because it's literally him just dancing and I guess where I'm happy for Dylan. He's been wanting to do the dance NFTs for a while. Unrelated to the video we made, but yeah, that turned out great. YouTube is going really well. I'm humbled. I'm honored to be part of this and grateful that Axie captivated me 6 months ago and that I decided to just jump right in. And after a month or so, said I could start filming these sessions and push to make it into the top 10. So I began it around that, and it's just very nicely progressed. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there is a boom happening. I mean, we're gaining like 1,000 subs, sometimes more a day. So it's absolutely insane, and it's great to see people be really interested in improving. I mean, this game has that buzz. It has that strategic depth that people who get involved want to become better.
Yeah.
And it's not just about people earning money in scholarships. Like if you saw the DMs I'm getting and the passion when we're streaming, it's really exciting. And I'm just thrilled to be here,
So
honestly.
one of the like landmarks that now I've gotten past just thinking in Ethereum in terms of independent of Ethereum to USD or CAD translations, right? I'm just thinking in Ethereum appreciation. That's kind of where your brain goes once you get in this thing and start thinking about all of it long. But I'm also starting to ask people like, what was the average price of land when you got in? Because I think that is more of like a tangible tell for me at least of where the economy was at. Like what was Arctic or Mystic land at when you first entered? Like what did you pay for your first piece of land? I saw like oh hi hello on Twitter said she got her first Mystic for 1.4, 1.5, and I looked at that and went, wow, I bought my first Arctic in the river for 2.5, and that
Right.
so I don't know. I've been marveling at how fast this stuff is appreciated.
I mean, it's hard to keep track of how quickly it's growing, but the beginning for me was I remember I had just bought a Mystic and I was pretty deep in Axie, bought a bunch of AXS. I got AXS when it was 55 cents, I think. And so
Oh
I remember
wow,
telling my,
yeah,
yeah, but I can distinctly remember the Mystic plots because I remember telling my girlfriend that I should own some land. And I was thinking I can get one of these Mystic plots for like $1,500 at one point. I think it was a little over an ETH. Uh, I didn't. I didn't get one, but I mean, it's one of those things where like you got to check your greed type situation. It's like
yeah,
you can't have everything to the maximum without being stupid. And if you do, you're put yourself at risk. So back then it was like I owned a Mystic and I owned all this stuff. And so the land, I think the Arctic plots I got was like point eight, something like that was where
Okay.
we picked up. Yeah, so still pretty good.
So, but you went for Mystic Axie before land in terms of like major investment. I'm
I
curious
did.
about that. Why?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a bit harder to understand all the developments with land gameplay. It's also not really what piqued my interest in the game. I was really intrigued by
You're an arena guy.
the
Yeah.
I'm an arena guy. I'm a PvP guy. So when I started, I got hooked. I was up till 4 or 5 a.m. every night playing Axies and just trying to become the best I could be. So that's always been my style of strategic games: Hearthstone, Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, poker, Axie. So it wasn't like I've ever played these other, like land is a whole different type of game. So of course I'm interested in being in there for the ecosystem and the guild I'm a part of. We own land collectively, and that's going to be great for our scholars to farm as well.
Right.
But from a personal standpoint, now of course that's probably going to change. I'm probably going to play it and be like, this is amazing. I wish I had more involvement, more items and whatnot.
I hope
But
so.
I prioritize the Mystic because because Mystics are the I call it like the platinum pass of Axie. The team has really voiced how much value they place on those, and there's only ever going to be like 1,500 of them. So I don't think you can go wrong with a Mystic.
Yeah. So like, are you in this camp that at some point Mystics will have some sort of like, I don't know how you balance that in PvP. I almost hope that Mystics don't have some advantage in PvP because that becomes, oh, there we go. That's a raid from Azarian. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it. Um,
Nice.
how do you balance that, right? Because they're going to become more and more expensive, and you don't want that to be a pay to win mechanic, but you do want to reward the fact that Mystic Axies are just badass, and it kind of makes sense, right? Their abilities come from their parts. You got a special glowy part that, like, at the very least, it should have a special animation, right? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
need more
definitely.
particles.
Definitely at the very least, animations and evolution and all of that, which I don't really think is a secret that that's in the works. And then as far as PvP, I don't think that would ever happen. That seems quite unlikely for sure, especially at like a very high competitive tournament style. I just see no spot for that.
No Mystic
Uh,
Axies. Sorry, boys.
yeah, at least not with added utility or added strength, right, in the game. So,
Yeah.
but PvE, I could see them getting bonuses and doing special things, maybe earning a little more. I mean, this is 100% pure speculation. And then land, we don't know. There's that little, Dave was streaming yesterday and he was on a site, one of the Axie sites, and it was like a little plot of land. And there was Jiho's Mystic with the horns, the super evolved version of it, just kind of walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks so cool. So who knows what they might bring to land play, or if they might have some extra farming capabilities. I wouldn't be shocked at
Yeah.
that.
I think that's probably fair because like land gameplay is a little more of this. It seems at least function of investment related to return, and Mystics are, no matter where you look back, they're always disproportionately more expensive than a regular Axie. So if they could yield a little more, yeah, that would be fitting, I guess. So I guess when you break it down like that, it makes a lot of sense. I got a little Mystic FOMO. I'm not gonna lie, man. I've told you this privately, but you were one of the first content creators I ever watched in Axie. You have to start somewhere, right? So my job, I've talked about this a little bit, but I onboarded a little bit slowly. I had to finish out that long Dota broadcast, the last season of the DPC they did. I had already signed on to that second season as like a package when I did the first season like 3 or 4 months prior. So I was kind of learning Axie on the side with this. I'm not signed on yet, but I really want to do this, and I'm trying to learn as quickly as possible so I can like impress my potential bosses or the people that own this thing. to hire me. So I was kind of burning the candle at both ends. And what most of that translated to was when I wasn't doing Dota casting, I was walking around and doing stuff in real life and watching YouTube content in the background or listening to Axie podcasts in the background, like Axie Chat, the YCB podcast, and some of your videos. I kind of half listened to, half watched while I was on my nightly walk. But yeah, you were like one of the first ones that popped up when I typed in Axie Esports or Axie Competitive or something. And I'm not going to lie, a little confused by the Axie to the Moon name because I had seen Elijah CTG somewhere else, or maybe I saw you on the ladder on Axie Zone or something like that. But I saw one of like the first videos that I saw you upload, like, oh, new video from Elijah, was your analysis of buying a Mystic. And I remember thinking at the time, damn, I want one so bad. What were they, like 6 ETH, 5 ETH, something like that?
Yeah,
Am I
around there.
nuts? Yeah, like they were still in single digits. And
Yeah.
that's still a lot to me, but that was a lot of crypto back then. And like you said, it's hard to, like, if you could go back in time, do you think you would have bought a lot of chests when they came out with the original land sale? Like, do you think you would have just bought a shitload of those Mystic chests and gone crazy and got Genesis plots? Because even given the chance at that particular time in my life, if someone, if Psych out a DM me and said, hey, man, this is really cool. I'm not just shilling my product. This is value. This project's great. Here's the value proposition, whatever. I think I would have looked at it and gone, cool, but too expensive for my blood. I don't think this game's going anywhere. Like, it's easy to look back now and go, oh, I wish I could have bought that. But honestly, my true assessment going back, it would have felt like too much of a gamble. I might have bought a couple of forest chests or something like that. I can maybe see myself gambling with a little bit of ETH, but there's no way I would have been buying Mystic chests like aplenty.
What was the sale price for those? Do you know?
Great question. I think the key thing to remember is how low Ethereum was back then, and I'm sure Twitch chat can help us out. It might still be listed on the website. See if I can pull it up real quick. But I think Ethereum was at like 200 back then, something like that.
Yeah, right. So to answer your question, I would have treated it the same way I treated the first couple Arctic plots I bought, which was, I don't know about this land thing, and that's not my area of expertise or anything close, but I do feel confident in my ability to assess a great game and to assess strategy. So I would have approached it like, this game is incredible. The team seems like they have their heads on really straight. So yeah, if it was around the time that I bought my Mystic and the land sale was happening, I would have for sure been involved because I was already sold on Axie, even though I didn't understand the land part. So yeah, I would have gotten something. I would have, if I could have bought a Mystic chest and could have afforded it, I definitely would have.
Here's the link. You can still see the original prices. It's not dated, but I want to say this was like 2019, right? Again, Twitch chat, there's got to be some Axie OG in here that can hit me with the real dates. This was before my time. Savannah chests were 0.05 ETH. Forest chests were 0.16. Arctic were 0.45. And Mystics were 1 ETH. And again, I think when they dropped, Ethereum was pretty low. I think it was a bear market. So maybe like 150, 250 in that range. So,
Sure.
1 ETH now would be probably like 10 Mystic chests back then. Something like that.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. I mean, I think it's one of those situations where everyone needs to cool their jets a bit, check their greed, realize it's super early, and there's still so many opportunities because it's very easy to look at investing that way across the board, whether it's crypto, stocks, axies, and go, whoa, what was I doing? And it's like, can I tell you a story real quick?
Absolutely, man. That's what we're here for.
All right, cool. So the first like sort of big tournament poker win I had online was in 2017, and I was very, very new to playing like full time, or not even full time, but like starting to take it serious. And so I won a tournament. I've only been playing online for a month or two, and I won a tournament for like $5,000 or $6,000 in 2015.
Okay, and that's pretty good. I mean, that's not like life-changing money, but as far as poker goes, I mean, I've never won a 5K tournament. I won a $100 tournament once.
Nice. Well, for your first one, that's really exciting. Like I've surpassed that since, but the first one I did like that felt amazing. Well, point being, everything had to be done through crypto back then. So, and it still largely is done through Bitcoin deposits and withdrawals. So that was my first exposure to Bitcoin. And essentially, I withdrew that money to Coinbase, and it was, I think Bitcoin price was around $500, and it was 10 Bitcoins. I didn't even realize it was 10 Bitcoins I was getting. I didn't even realize what the price of Bitcoin meant. I just knew, here's the
Wow.
$5,000. I'm using this as a medium of exchange. And then I sold it, right? And sold it to my bank and put it in my bank account, because back then, $5,000, I was like, I could use this money. And so I actually, like I said, I didn't even realize it was 10 Bitcoins until 2017 when the boom happened. And I was thinking, I've been exposed to this Bitcoin thing for a couple of years now, and I've never invested in it. I've just sort of seen the price kind of go up and never paid mind to it. It caught everyone's attention, including mine. I went back into that Coinbase. I was like, didn't I have some a while back? And I saw that I had sold 10 Bitcoin. And that was when, Bitcoin was peaking around 20K. So in my mind, I'm thinking, gosh, that could have been $200,000 if I'd have held it.
Wow.
And the point is, over the next 3 years from 2017 until now, I researched it. I realized the value. I woke up and bought some in 2017 and continued to buy all through the bear market, buy and cry. I mean, I just saw my portfolio get demolished over time. It's like over and over. I never sold, and I just kept buying. And so here we are 3 years later, and I'm in a very good position financially because of crypto. And so the point is that you just need patience, understanding, and good research, right? And then I'm a big believer in buy what you believe in and hang on to it. So I primarily just invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now Axie. And this year alone, what I made on the Axie investments so far, and of course we could correct, things could change, but it makes up for like that loss of like the 10 Bitcoins or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's really rewarding. So just don't get all caught up in FOMO or like being hard on yourself because you didn't see something that was there, because it's still there. It's still early.
Exactly. I love that story because it's so indicative of the investing dynamic. And there's this weird kind of misnomer that information is free, and it is in the sense that there's a lot of freely accessible information out there, but a lot of learning is trying and failing and trying and succeeding and then coming up with new combinations of things that you learn along the way. And a lot of those come from like the really big fuck ups that are hard to replicate, like in the laboratory or in a classroom setting. You got to kind of go out there and try it and risk something and lose it. And you want to minimize those losses, but everybody has losses along the way. Every single person can look back and go, man, that one thing, I was like one step away from this $1 million move. If I had done that and then this other really specific thing, you can retroactively say that about almost anything, anyone, in any scenario. So you hit the nail on the head. The key thing to remember, we are super early. You're looking at that 300,000, 350,000 daily concurrent active user or a daily active user number. Dude, it's going to be 3 million before we know it. And we're going to look back at, Axie Chat number 100. We're going to be like, oh man, do you remember when Mystics were less than 100 ETH? Oh, those times were crazy. You remember when Sir Gregory sold for 350? It's going to be bananas if we keep up at even half this rate of growth.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. If you guys are here, you're somewhat, don't take it the wrong way, you're somewhat lucky. We're all lucky to have caught this where we're at and see the beauty, the revolution of it, and to be here. So I'm thrilled for the future. I'm really happy that you're part of the Axie family, Andrew. It's been nothing but enjoyable conversations that I've had with you, and it's great. It's great times. It is like people to play devil's advocate, if we will. People ask, oh, what if it doesn't work with the Axie? It's like you always have to keep that as a possibility, right? Because
I still have stocks, Like,
yeah. You still have stocks.
I have a lot of crypto, but I'm just saying that to illustrate, like, you do want to diversify. I
Yeah.
don't think I could be more bullish on Axie right now. And not just because I'm paid to say that. And I'm not really paid to say that. I'm paid to be honest. And that's one of the things that I love about Axie. It's like one of the things they said was like, we need honest feedback. We need honest criticism. We need people that will come in and call it like they see it. Tell us when we're messing up. Tell us when we're doing well. Like, we don't want you to come in here and be a yes man. And to me, like, that's the sign of an environment that has some of the right pieces to be a winning formula. You know, that's a really key part of the foundation. So
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
you
All I was gonna say about it failing is like in my mind, it would take a black swan event at the magnitude of like Ethereum blew up or something. You know what I mean? Like that's how confident I feel. I'm not saying that couldn't happen, right?
yeah.
It's always a possibility in crypto, but if you just look at the momentum, the team, the vision, the fact that it's the first ever of its kind that is changing and impacting the world the way it is, it's good, something to be very, very bullish on.
Yeah, well, and it's actually fun. So here's like maybe the beginning of the segue. I've been getting sucked in more and more. Like, so let me tell you a little story, okay? And I might have tweeted this or maybe mentioned it on a past podcast or something. But in one of my, so I did multiple interviews before I got this job, right? Kind of with different co-founders at the company, and one of my very early questions, I think, in the first interview at the end was, "Can you guys pay me in USD?" And they were kind of like, well, we could, I mean, yeah, dude, money's money. We can pay you however you want. Who gives a shit? What kind of a question is that? And my response was, yeah, I just don't want to be paid completely in tokens. And they kind of made that face like, all right, I mean, I don't want to argue about it, but they're kind of better. But if you want cash, we could give you cash. That's fine. And then I talked to a couple of my like close friends that I trust just in general about the position and some of the concepts around it. And I mentioned that, and they were like, well, I see where you're coming from. And I understand that you've been mostly offered like pretty scammy ICO stuff in like 2018 and 2019. So you're jaded, but these guys are legit. And like, you definitely want the tokens, dog. Those things are, if you think this project's going to do well, like one of my friends kind of just digitally slapped me. It was like, think about it. If you're willing to switch like industries for this thing and you believe in it that much, why wouldn't the token also go up if the project's going to be successful? And I'm sitting there like, all right, that's a good point. Like, also, is there a lockup period or can you just sell the tokens on the open market? Like, I think I can just sell them. Well, then they're as good as cash, dude. You can cash out at any time. Just take those. They're way more flexible than cash. Cash just sits there. So then, you know, the next meeting, I kind of had that like, hey, guys, so about, I think I like tokens after all. And I was like super embarrassed about it because it's just, and again, like knowledge isn't free, right? Like I'm getting a little clammy like telling that story because it's like legitimately embarrassing. But I learned a lot in that little stretch of exchange, right? So anyway,
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's very reasonable, the approach that you had. So it's not like that crazy that you would still think of getting paid in fiat, you know.
But I'm glad that they were willing to, you know, hear me out. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's certainly some tokens involved. I guess I feel comfortable saying that. But all that is to say, like, I started there, right? I started as the, like, AXS. Ugh, I don't even, please, just give me all dollars. And then I switched to, like, I'll kind of take a shitload of AXS if you're willing to do that. And now I'm kind of like, I mean, if you guys want to give me some Mystic Axies or some like like origin tokens, like we could totally have that discussion. That's kind of better than anything else, right? And
Yes,
you know,
sir.
I thought I would be kind of like you watching a lot of your videos, mostly into battling. You know, like I saw the scholarship stuff and those farms and went, wow, this is really cool, but that ain't me, dog. You know, I'm just gonna try to buy like maybe 2 really meta sets of Axies, and I'm just gonna try to tear up the arena, learn the meta, and you know, tournaments, esports, that's my jam. And while I have enjoyed playing in the arena, I realized that breeding is like 10 times cooler than I initially thought it was when I first was getting introduced to the Axie ecosystem. And I mean, it's harder now with the mutations, as everybody knows, but it's really like it's a fun thing to min max, like a real economy where everything's worth like real money and they're all little assets. And you're looking at the market for these specific traits. It's like, all right, I want no anemone, or like I'm looking for hot butt, and you're trying to like min max your parameters with what's available on the market with the prices that should exist. And it's just awesome, dude. It's really fun. I hatched 5 Axies on 4th of July, and I was sitting there like jiggling in my seat like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what I'm going to get. I'm starting to get attached to these fucking things, dude. I look at that Frosty I bought for 0.8 ETH, and it makes me feel warm inside. It makes me feel like I'm like looking at a pet that I care about, and I feel like a freakazoid because I'm getting attached to a digital generated blockchain hash. Like what is happening to me, man? I'm starting to love these things.
That's how you know that they've done a damn good job, because that's the emotion that gets created in most people who try this game or that try and stick around, whether it's their first battle Axies, the mystics, the origins. There's just so much of that, and you must have probably didn't, like most of us, not really realize what you were getting yourself into, because the thing has a mind of its own. And as soon as you think you have one area down, there's an entire different space to explore. So those are all the ingredients of an incredible game with longevity. The Axie team has brilliantly pieced this together. I have no idea how. Trung is a super genius. Everyone on the team must just be 10 times smarter than the average person, because look at what they have built. Obviously, they've drawn off inspiration from other games that have been successful, but it is truly magnificent. And here we are. Breeding is, like you said, I had the most profitable month of my whole life doing anything with breeding. Was it last month?
Wow.
One of these recent months.
That's
couldn't
bananas.
even. Yeah, it was crazy, absolutely crazy.
And was that because of luck? Like, did you just kind of hit the genetic lottery, or like, was it all strategy? Was it in combination with the boom? Was it so? And I know you and I've talked about this before, but I'm fascinated with this conundrum we've got of you guys having a vested interest as content creators, and how, like, I mean, if you make a video shilling for some new combination of parts that nobody's ever thought of as good and make a case for it, people are going to buy that thing because Elijah CTG says it's good. And whether it's good or not, some people will buy it. And that's like some of your reputation that you're staking when you make a claim like that. But people trust you.
Right, yeah. So for one, I don't ever do that and have stuff specifically listed to benefit. Like I make sure that doesn't overlap, or at least not in some kind of extreme way. Like if I made a video about a certain meta and there was like 15 Axies of mine out there to be bought, that'd be kind of shitty. Mm-hmm. So it's not that. I think what you mentioned, though, a bit of luck, a bit of good timing, a bit of strategy, understanding what's good, and doing the cost risk analysis. But anyway, I mean, I initially wanted to build a big scholarship on a personal level, aside from, like CTG's growing one out, and I'm a part of that. But I was going to go for a big number. So I kind of aimed to just breed as many Axies to hit that number, and then realized, actually, no, I want to scale that back and have more of a smaller knit group that I can really focus on. So I kind of was left over with a ton of Axies, and it just so happened the market was booming. I thought, okay, now it's time to clear house. I sold a ton. And kind of stumbled into that big of a profitable month. And now that I'm thinking, okay, well, now can I go back into it again just with a breeding mentality? How do I do that? And so I'm getting ready to rev that up. The market's super high, so
because I'm slowing down a little bit, because now, like, 4 AXS per breed. I didn't mind 2. That didn't feel bad, but I do you feel like you're burning 4 votes every time you breed now? Because I think of AXS as like future votes of the DAO of Axie Infinity, right? Like similar to how I want to like accumulate as much Ethereum as possible, I kind of want to accumulate as much AXS as possible if I'm super long on the Axie Kingdom or Lunasia, just like as land develops, right?
Yeah, but I'll always top my AXS up, so I'm always gonna have the number I want to have. I'm not gonna so.
Well,
but
so
it's
for the plebs like me, for those of us that are sitting on 2 plots of land, like I have an estate, right? Technically 2 is an estate. That those of us in below look at that 4AX burn on every breed and go, I know this is profitable, but oh, it hurts. It hurts a little bit. You know, I know it's all like money's money, and I could just turn more stuff into AXS, but it still hurts, buddy. Maybe I'm just emotional about it. It still feels like I'm burning a vote.
Yeah, but like you said, just tell the team to pay you in Axis, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I got it. All right, renegotiate. All right, let's take a look at some breeds here. So I think I shared my whole screen with you. Let me pull up. Geez, sorry, I'm being a noob here. All right, yeah, I did find that land stuff. I like that it's still published. All right, so here's my cute little Ronin address. Also, one crazy thing I just noticed.
Is stuck on the game page for me still.
Is it frozen or it is frozen? All right,
yep.
yeah. Let me. Good old Discord, dude.
I should probably pull up the Twitter chat just so I have that available.
Oh yeah.
Or I mean the Twitch chat. Let me just get that up here.
There you go. Well. Yeah, sorry, I meant to share my whole screen and I kind of screwed it up. Let me shrink our cams a little bit. Well, cool. Man, yeah, everyone I talk to that does Axie stuff, it makes me want to go deeper and deeper, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. Can't get enough. Some days I got to stop myself and actually do work instead of breeding Axies, you know?
I love that, man. I'm really happy for you. It sounds like you're truly in the right place for what you're interested in and doing it for a profession. So hats off to you for jumping over. It sounds like, I don't know for sure, it sounds like you were kind of burnt out on the traditional centralized gaming scene. And we're really grateful to have someone like you in the space. I think you've helped a lot of us because the core team is obviously super busy. Jiho does a lot, but he can only do so much.
Yeah.
And so to have you in there, like communicating with us content creators, really happy they brought you in for that. So yeah,
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's all step by step. I always wish we could move more quickly, but I think we're moving as fast as we can within all the parameters that we've set.
For sure.